This is a read aloud of the Unit 2 assessment or test, Elements of a Short Story for American Literature Summer School Part 1. Questions. Remember that the question answers may be out of order, but they are still the same answers. Question 1. The section of a story in which the author sets the scene and introduces the characters is known as the conflict, the exposition, or the climax. Question 2. What happens during the rising action of a short story? The conflict is resolved. The author builds suspense to capture reader interest. The author provides background information about the characters. Question 3. What happens at the climax of The Story of an Hour? Louise Mallard retires to her room upstairs to grieve. Louise Mallard collapses when she sees that her husband, Brent Mallard, has returned. Louise Mallard collapses when she sees that her husband, Brent Mallard, has returned. The doctors decide that Louise died of joy at her husband's return. Question 4. Why is it important that The Story of an Hour takes place in the 19th century? Nowadays, people don't die in train accidents. The story could only take place in the United States. In the 19th century, women were not considered equal to men. The story could only take place in the United States. In the 19th century, women were not considered equal to men. Question 5. What is the irony in The Story of an Hour? The story was written a century ago, but it still has meaning today. When Brentley returns, he says the opposite of what he means. Louise feels free because she believes that her husband has died, but in fact he is not dead. When Brentley returns, he says the opposite of what he means. Question 6. In After 20 Years, why does Silky Bob return to New York? He wants to persuade Jimmy Wells to commit a robbery with him. He secretly wants to be arrested, or he had promised an old friend that they would meet there. Question 7. What is the main conflict in After 20 Years? Bob is angry that Big Joe Brady's restaurant is gone. Though they are best friends, Silky Bob is a criminal and Jimmy Wells is a police officer. Or the second policeman wrongly accuses Bob of being a criminal. Question 8. After the first drawing in the lottery, Tessie Hutchinson shouts to Mr. Summers, "You didn't give him enough time to take any papers he wanted. I saw you. It wasn't fair." How does Tessie's protest affect the plot of the story? It has no effect. The lottery continues. It leads Mr. Summers to redo the drawing. It convinces the villagers to abolish the lottery. Question 9. Which of the following is a theme of the lottery? People are friendlier in small towns. Traditions keep people from becoming uncivilized. Seemingly ordinary people can do horrible things. Question 10. How does the peaceful small town setting of the lottery affect the story's impact? It makes the story's violent ending all the more shocking. It makes the story seem unoriginal. It makes the story's violent ending all the more shocking.